So as you can guess, based on the title of this video, I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I think I've done this on before on my blog, but it's one of those ones you can do again every year because it's like it'll change every year. So I'm going to start with a couple of stats. This year I have read 88 books according to my Goodreads. A couple of those will probably be DNFs, and I've read a lot of manga at the beginning of this year. I kind of fell out of the way of it for a little while. I might get back into it at some point soon. But yeah, so there's a lot of like volumes which will make up a lot of that. So I probably read more close to like 40 books, but someone might think that is cheating, but hey ho, they're still books, aren't they? And I've read 12 books that I rated 5 stars, and I have DNF'd 1, 2, 3, 4 books this year. So yeah, I feel like it's been quite a good reading year for me so far, considering how up in the air everything has been in my life. I think I've probably turned to books a bit in like periods of like unrest, but everyone does that, don't they? So yeah, the first question in the tag is the best book you've read so far in 2018, and I kind of struggled with this because, as I said, I read did I say 12, 16? I can't, whatever I just said, I can't remember. It's gone completely out of my head already. I've read like a few books that I've 5-starred, and a lot of them like I enjoyed them at the time, but I wouldn't say they're the best books I've read so far in the year. But there was a few I had this kind of down to 3 books, and that was like Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli, because like it was such a culmination of finally getting the sequel to Love, Simon, if you know what I mean. Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan, which is the 3rd book in the Crazy Rich Asians series, but I like. So because those 2 books could go for categories further on in this, I felt like going So because those 2 books could go with categories that are further on down the line in this tag, I went with Dumpling by Julie Murphy, which, as you can see from the tabs, I really enjoyed this book. Dumpling's about a fat girl who takes part in a beauty contest. Is that what they're called? What are they called? Beauty pageant, that's what it is. And I just adored this book because it spoke to me on a whole level I hadn't had from a book before, and it just meant a lot to me. And like Willow Dean is such a wonderful character, and so is Bo, and so are all her friends, and I just love this book. I wish I could read it again, like for the first time. So then question 2 was best sequel you've read so far in 2018, which could go to, again, either Rich People Problems or Leah on the Offbeat, but I think I'm going to give this to Rich People Problems by Kevin Kwan, because like it honestly, like it was the best book in like the Crazy Rich Asians series. It was just so funny. Like I read it as an audiobook as opposed to an actual book, and like I was absolutely cackling in my car reading this on the way home from like visiting my parents. Like I've never laughed so much at a book in my life. Like I think everything that's been building up in the past 2 books comes to a header in this book, and it was just so solid. It made me so sad reading it as well, because I was like, oh my god, I'm never going to read another one of these books. Like, yeah, I can reread them, but I'm never going to get new content unless he decides to release more, because at the moment this is it, it's a trilogy. Number 3, so number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to, which for this I am going to go with Smoke in the Sun by Renee Ahdieh, which is the sequel to Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh. Obviously, Kirsty, shut the hell up. Anyway, so I got this from the publishers because they're amazing. I also got the paperback of the first book from the publishers because they're amazing. I love Hodder and Stoughton. They're like one of the first companies that, like, when I started out blogging, were sending me books immediately, even though they're like one of the big 3, are they? Yeah, they're one of the big 3 because they're part of Hatchet. So yeah, but I really liked Flame in the Mist, and I just like, I had to get a copy of this because like I loved the first book. Well, I liked the first book. I wouldn't say I loved it because I gave it 4 stars, so like I did enjoy it, but I just loved the cover of this so much, and I just like I got myself really hyped up on it because of this cover. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in this book either. It left on quite a cliffhanger with that one. And another book that's coming out, that's like just come out, that I really want to read, but like I don't have the other two books, so I don't know if I'm going to buy it, but my library doesn't have it yet, so I'm like, because I need to read it, is, oh fuck, what's it called? And that book, A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. I've seen everyone on my Twitter talking about it constantly. And like, I adored the first two books. They were so good. And I just like, I'm at such a dilemma because I don't have the first two books like myself. I had them from the library and my library here doesn't have them out yet. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just buy it. Because I do plan to get around to buying the first two books anyway. I'm struggling. Question number 4 is your most anticipated release for the second half of 2018. And for me, that has to be What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli. Because I adore both of those authors' works and I just feel like it's going to be such a good book. I'm really annoyed because I requested it on Edelweiss and HarperCollins didn't give it to me, and HarperCollins have previously always said yes to my requests, and recently they've just been like, nah. So I'm like, excuse me, what have I done wrong? Book blogger problems, eh? No one else complains about not getting free books, do they? But here's me. Question number 5 is biggest disappointment, and for me, this 100% is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine or whatever it is by Gail Honeyman. This was like the big book of last year that like broke a lot of records or whatever and won a lot of awards. Everyone was raving about it, and I got it out from the library after waiting in a queue of 36 people, which is insane because it was an ebook. So yeah, I tried to read this and I think I got, what was it, like 20% of the way in, and I had to DNF it because I was just so, I didn't understand the point of the book. It didn't feel like there was any kind of plot, but there was also no character development, so it wasn't like plot based or character based. Like, if it's not got a plot but there's a lot more like character stuff in it, then yeah, it's fine, but I just didn't understand what the hell was going on. And like, there's no discussion whatsoever about like, from it, like the characters, about her having like, she clearly has like some form of autism, and there's no like mention of it to the point that I'd read in the book. And I asked my friend and she said there was nothing about it. Like, yeah, there's stuff to do with her PTSD because some stuff happened in her past. Like, I looked up spoilers, but like, there is apparently no mention of her having autism, which it is so clear that she has it, and it just made me a bit uncomfortable reading as well, because like, it was just the weirdest book. And I started off being really excited about it because not only was it a big thing, but it was also set in Glasgow where I live, and I was excited to read like some of the places that it was like spoken about in it, like places I go to. But I just, and then number 6 is biggest surprise, which I went with a book that I got on ebook from the library. And the reason I went for this as the biggest surprise is because, not because I thought it would be bad or anything, but I cannot stand thrillers or horror or anything like that. Like, I'll read one in every while and I'll watch something once in a while, but for the majority of the time I don't enjoy it. But I read Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson and I really liked it. It was so fast paced and like didn't annoy me. And like, I still have no idea who did anything in it, and like, I have to wait for the sequel and it's killing me. But yeah, like, I didn't expect to like it considering how much it's just not my thing. But I did really like it. Yeah, I've never read anything by Maureen Johnson before. I have her Jack the Ripper book, I can't remember what it's called, but I have it on my shelf. But I haven't got around to reading it, so I might get around to it now that I know like I like her style. For favourite new author, I went with Emily X. R. Pan, who wrote The Astonishing Colour of After. And whilst the book kind of fell a bit flat for me, like I gave it 4 stars, but I was really expecting to give it a 5-star review, but that's not any problem to do with the book. It's more, it's not written for me, which is completely fine, and that is expected. Not every book is going to be written for a fat white girl in Scotland, and I'm completely fine with that. Like, I still liked it and I still thought it was a very well written book. Like that's why I was saying, that's why I'm saying like she's my favourite new author, because her writing is incredible. Like it reminds me of like, it feels like the YA female version of it feels like the female YA version of Haruki Murakami, who is one of my favourite authors. So yeah, like even though the book was not written for me and it wasn't like out of this world for me, that's fine, because it's not for me, it's for mixed race Chinese people who live in America, who are struggling with their heritage and stuff and like knowing who they are. And that's not who I am. I know who I am. I'm a Scottish chubby girl whose parents have moved around a lot, and like it all comes back to Scotland in the end. So yeah. The next question is newest fictional crush, and I don't really feel comfortable answering this because I have read some adult romance books, but like all the heroes are like out my head, and all the heroines are out my head, and all the ambience, I don't know what you can say for that, but anyway, they're just like, there's no one that comes to mind, and like I feel very uncomfortable labeling anyone in YA as a fictional crush, because like I'm 24, these kids are like 17, 18, and whilst they are fictional, that's still like, there's something wrong with you if you call someone in a book who is like 16 a fictional crush when you are an adult. That just doesn't read right to me. Well, no. A new favourite fictional character is either Dumplin from Dumplin, who is just a fat goddess and I love her, or Shifeng from Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. I read this recently and I wasn't sure if I'd like it because it was getting a lot of hype, but I still like, I really enjoyed it. But I really like Shifeng in this. She is like an anti-heroine, and like I know in the second book it's going to be from another character's perspective of Shifeng completely losing it and being the villain, and I think that's really cool, like getting to see her kind of origin story before she turns into this absolute nightmare, and seeing the build up of her turning into someone like that. It was really cool to read, and I really liked her character for that, even though like she was someone that I wouldn't like if I'd read this from another perspective, but because I read it from her perspective, it was just like, oh, it was so good, and I can't wait to read the second book. The next two ones go together for me, and it's a book that made you cry and a book that made you happy, and that goes for Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I mean, I've spoken about Love, Simon so much on this channel. Not Love, Simon, what am I talking about? I keep calling it Love, Simon, and it's Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I've spoken about Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda a lot on my channel, and it also its film adaptation, and like that was such a big thing in my heart, and like I was so scared for this book coming out that I wouldn't like it, and I know a lot of people have had some problems with it, and I'm not gonna invalidate their problems, but like the problems that they had, I didn't really, I was kind of like, okay, I get it, but I didn't have a problem with it. But I'll talk about that in my review, which will be coming some point soon. I've still got a huge backlog of reviews because I read too much and don't post enough to match that, but that's a good thing because at least I don't struggle for content. Why do I talk like that? Anyway, so yeah, yeah, it was quite scary for me to read this book because I was so nervous about it. But yeah, this kind of goes as made me cry, made me happy, because there was points where I was sobbing and those points that I was just so happy about this book. So it's one and the same for me. And then on that note, favourite book to movie adaptation I saw this year is obviously Love, Simon. Like, I constantly talk about that on this channel. I feel like it might be overshadowed by Thug for the second half of the year, so I might split, like, if I do a tag like this later on and it's like, but to me my adaptation of the year, I'll be like 2, because I feel like Thug's gonna be really good, but that's another story. Most beautiful book you bought so far this year. I haven't actually bought that many books this year. I've been quite good. Like, I've bought a lot of ebooks, but I haven't bought many like actual books, I don't think. Apart from obviously ones that I've got in my Fairylit box, but like, even though I buy them, I feel like I'm not buying them, because it's like, I don't click to buy it, it just comes out my account and then it appears. But yeah, so for this one, I kind of picked one that I didn't actually buy because the publisher sent me it, but again, I'm going for Smoke in the Sun by Renee Ahdieh, because it's so beautiful. Like, it's so nice having an Eastern Asian woman on the cover. The cover art is so pretty, like with the dragons and the blossoms, and purple is my favourite colour, so I just love it. I never actually checked if I had nah. I thought I might have an exciting underneath, but it does not. And then question 15 is an absolute mess. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? I mean, let's just show a whole thing of my bookshelf and my e-reader, because I have a lot of books I need to read and I'm not going to read them all by the end of the year. So thanks everyone for watching my tag. If you want to do this tag, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to tag anyone because no one tagged me, so I feel like I only have 24 subscribers, so I'm like, so yeah, give this video a like, subscribe to me if you want to. Down below I am leaving my Twitter, my Goodreads and my Instagram. Give me a follow on those, that's where I post all my stuff. And then maybe subscribe to my book blog, which is kirstyreadsblog.wordpress.com, which I will also leave down below. I hope you guys are having a good day. It's really nice here, but I also just can't be bothered going out because it's a Sunday. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone, bye! It's high was for a limit. Shouldn't fall the stars, but I'm gonna make a killing. It's a high. So I'm gonna start off with a couple of stats. So this year I have read 18 books. Not 18. What am I talking about? Oh, I'm losing my voice.